This summer, turn your gifting game up during the Summer Plant and Garden Sale at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can score up to 30% off succulents, bonsais, fresh-cut blooms, and more. Whether you're celebrating a birthday, sending a thank you, or a just-because surprise, 1-800-Flowers lets you save big on a stunning selection of gifts. Save up to 30% off during the Summer Plant and Garden Sale at 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. Gift something unforgettable today.
This is Stephanie Diaz de Leon.
This is Omar Waheed.
This is Beth Stacy.
This is Camille Jackson.
And this is Rob Chappell.
And it's 365 Amplified. I once again almost cut Rob off before he spoke and said his name.
On my birthday.
Tomorrow. Okay, at the time of this recording, it is not his birthday yet. That's tomorrow. So I like how you tried to throw me under the bus on his day of birth. And it was fine, Rob. Yeah. I can treat you how I treat you normally.
Yes, you can.
The day before.
Yes, no, definitely you can.
Yeah.
So we have lots to get to today. We're going to first do a sort of an update on the whole encampment protest situation. Omar, you actually went down there. When was that? So Monday night? Tuesday night?
Tuesday night? Oh boy, I did. That was so much fun.
So we should say on Tuesday, very early morning, city staff came to clear it out. This is the corner of Baldwin and Williamson Street where Corey Ruiz was killed by the police 2 weeks ago now, and which became a sort of a site of protest and vigil and memorial, and then became kind of an encampment where folks were providing services and stuff for unhoused people, which then attracted more unhoused people, which is, I think, part of what the city had a problem with.
Madison notoriously hates the unhoused.
They
pretend to care about them, though.
It hates the look of the unhoused.
And
they hate them as people, too.
There was a lot of talk of that it was an unsafe environment, etc. I wasn't there very much, so I can't speak to whether it was a safe environment or whatever. But the word was that they were cooking, there were bathrooms, there was sanitation, there was a mental health tent, and all sorts of stuff like that. And when they did clear it out, they say they tried not to use law enforcement, but they ended up having to use law enforcement because folks were most people just left, right? But a handful stayed and tried to maintain it, and they arrested about 10 people that morning. They moved the big fist, which came from Minneapolis, and everybody's stuff over to Demetral Park. It's not there now. Now, if you had stuff there, you can contact the Parks Department, and they're saving it somewhere for you.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know what they did with the fists. I didn't realize it was from...
Yeah, it's from Minneapolis, from the George Floyd protests and such like that, too. The other thing to name, though, is also the police were in very specific gear as they were coming out there.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were, which, if folks remember the encampment that happened on campus, it was very familiar in terms of the tactics they used and the gear that they wore.
I think they're a little more kitted out here instead of on the campus protests. I think they had more extreme equipment on.
They had shields on.
Yeah.
But they did have weapons of different kinds as well.
They also had state patrols on there.
Yep.
They did.
Different agencies were there too.
4 giant horses, and I cannot stop saying that they're giant because I forgot how terrifying horses are in person.
Yeah, this is so. Then later in the day, so they actually opened the intersection, and then folks kind of closed it down again. And there was a much smaller group later in the day on Tuesday, and the police kept having to arrest people. Or I don't know if they had to, but they did.
I don't think they had to. Yeah,
they kept arresting people. Some of them a little violently, right? So talk to us about what you saw down there, Omar.
I don't know why they arrested the first person. It just happened really, really fast. Cops swarmed the person, took him down to the ground. Of course, the people were not happy with that, so the people swarmed the cops. It was back and forth, and that led to more arrests. And yeah, that's when everything started to break down.
And as we record on Thursday, I think the intersection's back open, but I think there's still.
Is it?
I think, I'm not sure. I guess.
Stuff last night. Yeah, there was more things last night too.
Yeah, the mayor and the police chief and some other folks had a press conference Wednesday,
which you were at.
Which I was at. No real news, so I didn't write anything up, but because they didn't notice anything new. But one interesting thing that the mayor said was that one of the things they learned in 2020 was that when people are protesting against the police, having a bunch of police there doesn't help. Kind of makes things worse.
What?
Right. Which is why, I mean, and that is the approach they tried to take. And then we do have to say they did allow this encampment to happen for 12 days.
Sure. But also, like, is it an encampment or was it like a memorial? Right? Like, those are two very different things. On some level, this was about memorializing a public, horrible death while also giving care to other folks in the space, right? That were there as well. Whether they were unhoused or were there to also share in the community of wanting justice. I think it's also important to, like, what language we use for this and what language the mayor's office, the police are, like, what language are we using to describe these things and who is deciding what this was and what this wasn't. Because by calling it, we use certain words to call out or give a sense of whether or not it was legal or, you know what I mean? Or like it was unsafe and stuff like that too. And so, like, I think it's also important to think about, like, because that language is important when we further talk about, like, what happened on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. And also what happened on, 12 days ago. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what we're trying to, who gets punished, who gets a sense of justice, who gets, who we, like, decide must leave a certain site, or, and who has access to information and how that information is shared. I think is all really, really important. And even this language around encampment kind of bothers me a little bit because it's also a way for us to say, well, to kind of hint at that what they were doing was illegal, right? Like, when the purpose was really a memorial for the community, for Corey Ruiz and his family. And for the folks who witnessed and saw this horrible thing that happened to this man by police.
Right. Speaking of that, Corey's family did put out a statement on Wednesday. And I'll just read the whole thing. Corey was quiet, soft-spoken, and giving. He thought about other people before he thought about himself. He had a family who loved him. He was not alone in this world, and he was not without help. We ask that he not be reduced to a label he never carried. To the activists who have shown up for Corey, thank you. Keep fighting for justice peacefully and together. Our family is not affiliated with any group, and you do not need our approval to demand accountability. Please work through our liaison rather than contacting our family directly. Our family did not organize or authorize the encampment at Williamson and Baldwin Streets. We learned of it the day after it was set up. We were never asked, and we never agreed to the statement released in our name. The city cleared that intersection yesterday. We ask everyone at that corner and everyone wearing a badge to keep this peaceful. No one else should be hurt in Corey's name. The family has authorized one GoFundMe and only one, and there's a link to it. We'll put that in the show notes. Any campaign raising money for protest or advocacy work should say so plainly and should not tell donors the money is going to Corey's family. We would welcome a respectful memorial to Corey that honors the man he was. We are asking for privacy while we grieve. Please work through our legal representatives and liaisons on any requests for our family. And that comes from Kareem Ali, who works for Ben Crump, who's the attorney that's representing them now. So, I think they're trying to say in the most respectful and peaceful, kind way possible, like, be careful about invoking the name of Corey Ruiz. And, there's one thing to demand police accountability more broadly and to demand justice for Corey specifically. But be transparent about how you're representing that. Which also mentioned on Tuesday afternoon, the independent police monitor got into it with the police. We're going to talk with. I don't
know if she got into it. I think she was trying to.
She was brought into it.
Like, let's be careful about how we use that language again. Like, I don't know that she got into it. I think they got into her. They got. You
we're
know,
going to
brought
talk
it
with
up to her.
Carmella Glenn, the vice president of the Common Council, who was present for this whole incident, and talk to her about it a bit more a little bit later in the show. But basically, Carmella and Aeiramique Glass, who's the independent police monitor, went down there to observe.
Yeah.
And they actually pulled over when they saw the police dragging somebody who was limp, doing the not cooperating with the police, basically. And they were just documenting that and making sure that they were handling that person safely.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a officer there who Aeiramique said had been antagonistic toward her earlier in the day. And
let's also name that she was wearing
Yeah.
visibly for anyone to see what her role was.
Yeah, she had a big crest on her t-shirt that said like Officer of the Independent Monitors. People know who this is.
Yep. And if you're an officer, you especially should know who this is.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're a lay person, if you're, you may not know who it is, but if you're an alder, a person part of the city of Madison, and or anybody in law enforcement, you should know what that symbol and seal is that she's wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And she got she was asking for that guy's badge number, taking pictures of him, and another officer stepped in and tried to kind of push her away and make contact with her. Aeiramique was turned to walk away and kind of like swatted that officer's arm away from her. And that officer grabbed her, and then suddenly she had 4 or 5 of them on her and grabbing her hair and grabbing her arms and trying to detain her. They were grappling for 15 seconds, which is a long time.
Yes, that's a very long time.
And ultimately, I think it dawned on them who she was and and that she wasn't actually trying to instigate anything, and let her go. But she got a pretty deep cut on her hand in that. So she's not sure exactly how that happened, but
it happened,
and she was bleeding. And in the moment, with the adrenaline pumping and the blood flowing out of her hand, she said, "I'm not the one. I will burn this city down." And Carmella caught that on video, as did Greg Gellenbeck, the data analyst for the office, and posted it. And so that was the headline.
For everybody else.
For everybody.
I would have said the same thing.
Well, here's the other thing. It is not illegal to ask for a police officer's badge number.
Right.
It is not illegal whatsoever. She was not asking for it in a way that kept him from doing his work or his job.
Nope, she wasn't impeding anything.
She was not impeding an arrest. She was not impeding his work and his role. She asked him for his badge number, which is legal to ask and which he should have given to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the sense of tension between how these officers are treating this person with some role and some level of trying to hold accountability for them. Absolutely, I can understand that this maybe has been a tense thing, but she was not in their way whatsoever. So I cannot imagine anybody who just doesn't follow orders for them in that moment, how they would have handled that, right? Mm-hmm. And again, the language that people are picking up on, the only thing they're hearing is, she said this one thing, which was probably meant figuratively. I wasn't her. I'm not there. But I know you talked to her and, afterwards and such, and got stuff like that too.
Well, that's the thing. All the other headlines were based on the video. Nobody
had context or had asked the question.
But me, I called her right after this. I got her when she was still in it, and she was so adrenaline up when I talked to her still that she didn't even remember saying it.
Yeah, because she was harmed. She was literally harmed in so many different ways, and it's a traumatizing thing to go through when you suddenly have 4 or 5 people who are armed and trained to try to contain you. And I don't know that they needed 4 or 5 people. She had no weapon whatsoever that required that level of force at her for asking for a badge number.
Right.
Too, by the way.
And then at the press conference, that incident didn't come up very much in the press conference, but the framing was, "Are you going to arrest her?"
For what?
Yeah.
What are we arresting for?
Even the police chief was like, "What?" Like,
Why?
he was like, "Oh, we're still reviewing that incident." Sort of like deflected.
I also want to name, too, how quickly that video came out, because they had a drone video that they released right away.
Right. Yeah.
And no other videos of what actually happened 12 days ago has been released whatsoever.
Right. We did have a little bit of video of her, grappling with the police from Greg Gellenbuck, who was there, and from Carmella, who was there. We didn't have much video of what led up to it, so you always wanted to get as much context as you can. So I reached out to the police department, and I talked with Dylan from the mayor's office, and they very quickly put out drone footage.
Yeah, they posted it. They posted that publicly, not just to the media.
Yeah,
they didn't just share it to the media. They themselves then posted it publicly to say, like, see what? I still see a problem.
Which means that they not only that's the fastest they've ever released anything, but also that they thought it was.
They felt they were justified.
They thought it was good for the police.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was not good for the police. And again, it reminds me again, like, hey, y'all. Just like whatever elected official you are as a mayor or any sense of authority that we have given you to protect and serve us, I'm holding you to a different level of accountability, as we all should. And so, absolutely, I question all the millions of dollars that we give this police and the continuous asking for more money for things, how it's being used for training and how to, disarm a situation, to talk through situations rather than going to a position where we need 4 or 5 offers on this one woman who asked for a badge number.
Right.
And that's her role.
And her role also is to investigate incidents when complaints are made. She is investigating the death of Corey Ruiz. However, she's doing so without any cooperation or evidence or records or data from the police department, because they gave that all to the Department of Criminal Investigation, who is the state agency who is performing the criminal investigation. And they continue to maintain that they can't give evidence to the Office of Independent Monitor until DCI completes their investigation, which is just not true in state law.
No, there's no state law that says they have to do that.
No.
They can release it.
Yeah, they could.
They choose not to.
And they're in defiance of a subpoena right now. So that's going to start going through the legal process pretty soon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And what they told me, what John Patterson said in the press conference when I asked him, because he said the day after the shooting, he said, "We're not going to let open investigation be an excuse not to share." That's the literal quote. And I asked him about that, and he said, "Well, it's not that we're not denying them any information." And I've been told this by several people. We're not denying them the evidence. It's just a matter of timing. So it feels like you're denying them.
Yeah, I mean, you can play whatever language game you want to play and jump through hoops, and that's a lot of extra exercise that you don't have to do, but you're choosing to do.
It's very simple. When I ask, "Can I have this?" and you say no, that's a denial.
Yeah.
Even if you say no, but you will later, you're still denying it.
You're still denying.
So there's no legal reason that I can find, and I talked with an attorney, I talked with a law professor about this, because I was like, what am I missing? I must be missing something. And so I talked to this law professor, Ion Main, at UW, and he was like, no, there's nothing in the law that there can't be 2 concurrent investigations, because OIM is not doing a criminal investigation. They can't bring charges. Like, it's a totally different thing. So there's no reason that those 2 investigations can't happen simultaneously, with full access to all the evidence. So we will see what happens, and we'll continue to follow it. All right, let's talk about less heavy things. Anybody else want to? Have you guys been down there at all? What's your impression of that Camille?
I haven't been down since it was cleared, but I was down a few times before. And
what was the vibe? Just tell me what. It sounds. I keep being told it was a pretty chill vibe.
Yeah, right? It was very chill. There's people cooking. It was super hot, so there's always people going around with iced water bottles and passing them out to people. There's kids down there. I was down there with my friend, and we were just they have a tent, an art tent with paint and markers and stuff, and we were making signs with this random kid who was like, she was like 6 years old, and she was like, you have to use this paint, you have to do this. But we were it was very...
She was in charge, huh?
She was in charge. But yeah, it was very calm. There was like, around the memorial, there was like folding chairs.
Mm-hmm.
There's music playing. Like, it was nothing was really happening.
Yeah. So it didn't feel dangerous to you? Were you there during the day or at night? Or
both times I went, it was during the day. But even then, I feel like I've seen like videos from night, just like not the inset and stuff, but like the regular nights, and it's just like people have their tents. They're just really just out there.
Yeah. They were talking about the businesses right there that weren't accessed, and there were like the mayor said, more importantly, the residents nearby that were worried or couldn't get to their homes or whatever. Did you see anything like that?
Yeah. A lot of the businesses that are in the zone have like pro Corey signs up, calling for accountability, calling for justice. A lot of them have signs that are like, we're closed for like, I don't know, closed to like acknowledge what happened on the corner. I mean, I don't know about a lot of residents also had pro Corey signs up. I know that I'm sure it does impact their life, but I feel like the general vibe of just like the signs in the windows seemed very, maybe not pro the encampment, but definitely like pro Corey.
I could see somebody being like, we're with you. Yeah. However, we needed people to drive through this intersection.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that perspective, you know. All right. Thank you for that. Let's talk about food, especially food from Black restaurants.
Yes, it
is Black Restaurant Week
coming up.
Such a good week.
August 9th through the 16th. So many restaurants.
And so many new ones.
A lot of new ones. There's 16 restaurants this year, which is actually lower on the amount of restaurants than usual, but there are 17 food trucks and caterers, which is more than usual.
Okay.
So there's a lot of new names out there. There are some returning ones like Baraka and David's Jamaican Cuisine. Some businesses who are now in their second year who have more refined menus and stuff and processes and all that. So many. One of them I'm excited for is Action Jackson opened up a food truck.
What?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Why?
Where?
Where's
this food truck?
Well, it's called Papa Dogs. It's hot dogs, and of course, there is a hot dog named after his dog Giovanni. Dane County's most famous dog, of course, or at least most stylish dog with its gold chain and suit sometimes.
Yeah, you have to understand. Action Jackson he owns a landscaping company. You've covered him a lot because he does like training programs and stuff to get people into the landscaping business. And he is fantastically stylish. And whenever he shows up, he's to come to the summit sometimes or other events we have, and he's often got like a long coat with like furs. on it.
And the dog
Always,
matches.
the dog matches.
Both of them are always appropriately dressed for the type of occasion the event is.
Honestly, sometimes Giovanni is dressed just slightly better.
Just a little bit.
And Giovanni's a Chihuahua, right? Or he's a very small dog. Anyway,
I don't know the dog types.
And so he's got his own little carrier often, and anyway, Action Jackson's very, very stylish.
Oh, sunglasses! They're custom sunglasses.
For the dog.
A gold chain fitted for the dog. It is
so a hot dog food cart from Action Jackson is
the right thing to do.
100% on the nose.
brand.
And he's in Black Restaurant Week.
Yes, fantastic. He is. So
that's amazing. So what do the restaurants offer for Black Restaurant Week? Are they like special deals and special menus and stuff like that?
They'll all have some type of discount. The Black Chamber of Commerce usually hands out some type of coupon also for participating in it. So swing by the Black Chamber of Commerce's office and they might have a coupon for you, or check your email. They might have sent it to you.
Yeah, and the Black Chamber office is right here in the hub on the south side on the second floor.
Second floor.
Yeah. All right, and we have our Omar's comprehensive guide to Black Restaurant Week on the website this morning.
Yes.
Madison365.org, which took longer than usual because first of all they were a little bit not late getting it to us, but later than usual, and there's so many new restaurants.
Yeah, it's because there's so many new things.
Yeah, so that is up there at Madison365.org. Abby, looking ahead to the 22nd of August, there's another picnic block party thing you can go to. Tell us about that.
Yes, mark your calendars, August 22nd, the Philippine American Association of Madison. They're hosting their annual summer picnic. The location has not yet been announced, but you can keep track of that on their website. And it's really just a cultural celebration. They're going to have some traditional performances of live music and dances. I know that the summer day camp, the kids at their summer day camp are going to be performing as well. And they're also announcing scholarship winners at this event from Pamina. And so it's going to be really exciting. There's also going to be some really great food, I hear. Lechon, if you know, and halo halo. So you have to RSVP ahead of time. I believe the deadline's August 19th if you want to get food. And then they'll be serving that there as well. So it's going to be a great time.
And we will have all the details of that at Madison365.org, so watch for that. And then finally, before we get to Carmella Glenn, Camille, you went out to the Madison Public Market. And I was out there for opening day, and I talked to a couple people, and I ran into the QB's Magnetic Creations, and then you went and talked to her some more. So tell us about her and that business.
I went back to the public market and I talked to Judy McNeil, who is the owner of QB's Magnetic Creations, which are like, they have jewelry, they have name tags, like stuff you can put on your clothes, but it's all magnetic stuff. And she's been doing this since 2007. So doing it for quite a long time. And she named the business after her mother, QB, but she shortened the name, but she named it after her mother. And that was like very important to her to like keep her mother's name alive and make sure like people say her name. So she's like pretty family focused. And her granddaughter did that big mural on the outside with the afro.
Oh yeah,
her granddaughter did that.
What? Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's another story, y'all.
That is another story. That's so cool. Yeah, and she's, like you said, she's been doing this almost 20 years, but this is the first time she's had like a location, like her own shop, which is what the public market is. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very cool. So that's where we also be at Madison365.org, and we're going to kind of spend some time profiling several of the businesses that are there at the public market as it ramps up. Again, it sort of soft launched last week, and is open mostly evenings right now, and they'll have a bigger grand opening later in the fall, and we'll announce details of that soon. All right. We will thank you for that, Camille. Will we take a short break, and we're back with Carmella Glenn right after this. And we're back, and joining us, Common Council Vice President Carmella Glenn. How you feeling today?
Good. You're here. Yeah, I'm here. You're here, too. Yeah, and we appreciate it.
That hesitation was real, and yeah, we do appreciate you giving us the time and lending your voice to the current situation. As far as you know, so give us your assessment of the situation as it stands today as we record on Thursday, August 6th.
God, it's so big for me as someone who's such a systems person. Like, I think that if I start pulling at the web, it's so many things are wrong right now, and so many things are right now. And I would assess it to be exactly where I thought it would be as soon as they dismantled the quiet protest of the street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is what? How did you expect it to be, and how is it now?
I have said this to friends and nowhere else so far, but that memorial site was an analogy of Colin Kaepernick kneeling. It was uncomfortable, but not unsafe. It was the ask. It was the community. I was shocked by how democracy and liberating it became for people there, of people holding each other accountable, people getting haircuts, people getting mental health services, people like so quickly to be able to come together, people holding each other accountable when you went outside of what it was. It was it was uncomfortable, but it wasn't unsafe. This is unsafe.
Yeah. Where we are now feels unsafe and unnecessary.
And
right?
unnecessary.
And I think that, what that site was, because we talked about this earlier, and it's like even the language that folks are using around what the site was, it was a memorial. It was a place of community care in a moment that we needed it, that people really needed it because something so violent had happened. And it was this feeling of like so many of these incidents keep happening and we needed community care. We needed to pause. Right. And so when they use language like encampment, I'm like, oh, they're going toward language where they're saying like, well, there's a legality issue here. There's a property issue here. They're not using community. They aren't using the word community because community makes you think of people. And they're kind of trying to remove that language. At least to me, it feels like they're trying to remove that language from what is happening so that they can say like, well, we're trying to restore order and safety. And I was saying like, people listen to the language that folks are using and how they're using it and maybe question why they're using that language instead of the language that the people who are there are experiencing and are talking about. And you've been there for so many days. I will say that like, that is a lot of, and I understand like you are a leader, you're an elder. I can imagine knowing you and knowing what I know about you and the work you've done for years, that you feel like this is your role as you're a servant leader, you're about community and care, and such. But I have to ask you, like, how are you taking care of yourself? Because you have consistently shown up, consistently give voice to people, and consistently made sure that things were being communicated out, right? Like you were sending out lists of like, here's what people need right now every day, just to to honor that moment that was happening for people and such. So what has care been for you so far?
The best way I can say it is watching them not give up.
Yeah.
Watching the community say no more. Watching the community I got to do the Common Council meeting. I mean, at this point, I feel privileged that they canceled it in person, and then I decided to build it in the community at the SJC. Because
which is amazing.
I sat in the room and in a building with sometimes as high as 45 to 50 people all signed up to talk, and got to suck love and passion from them for 6 hours before we ended up leaving and going home and finishing it out. But like I'm a total collectivist, and that community care that they gave me while they were having a hard time because I gave them a voice to be able to say what they needed is immeasurable. And so
we should just describe what happened for folks who weren't paying attention, who don't know. But there was a Common Council meeting Tuesday night where the ordinance amendments that might have affected the Office of the Independent Monitor were on the agenda. Ultimately, after the police killed Corey, they basically said we're taking those off. We're not going to vote on those. We're not going to. Those aren't moving forward. However, they remained on the agenda so that people could speak about them, and then they moved the meeting to virtual only because of some security concerns. And what you did was, for rather than because people couldn't go to the meeting to be there to speak and to just show up in a large group of people, which is its own way of speaking, you actually set up the Zoom at the Social Justice Center, which is just down the block from where this happened on Williamson Street. And you had, like you said, just many, many people, and everybody gets 3 minutes, and it still went 6 hours. Like that's how many people were speaking in opposition to any Common Council efforts to interfere or to grab more control of the Office of Independent Monitors. That's a fair characterization?
That's a very fair characterization. Yeah.
And so you were even in that conversation, even during that moment of those 6 hours, though people were voicing concerns and feelings of injustice and wanting access and transparency and such like that, you still felt love and care there, which is an amazing thing that I think people are like, oh, it must be exhausting. And it still can be love and care, right?
Loving your community so much that you sit there for. It was not that the 6:30 people, the very early people, weren't as important as the 1:30 in the morning people, but the fact that there were 1:30 and 12 o'clock in the morning people that loved this community so much that they sat there to do that was love. It's just pure love.
You're right. And I appreciate how you are presenting this and how you're saying this, because it's not in the news how people are talking about it. They are talking about very system things, very like right versus wrong, when it's like so much more complicated than that. So much more complex, and there's love in that space, right? Like I'm willing to be here and stand up for what I think is right for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my community, because I want better for us. Like I criticize, I push, I hold us accountable because I believe we can be better. And that's the experience that you've been a part of for the last few days, right? And I want to make sure that we bring that out. Like I think absolutely Rob's going to have more questions, but I want to make sure that we name, that you've helped give people access, and ability to share that love, that through our want of accountability, through our want of justice, it's our expression of love, just like you said.
It's our expression of love. Yes, it is. It's civic responsibility, civic law, civic action is your love for your community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there was a lot else going on. So I had the meeting on while I was also working on covering what had happened earlier in the day and, all the other things. And a lot of what I heard was, it's easy to get lost in the weeds of ordinance amendments and subsection G or whatever, and administrative policy memos and budget stuff. But what I heard was not that. It was public comment on we want an office. We want an organization that we can trust, that's going to hold the police accountable, that is properly resourced, and that is independent. Make it happen. However you need to do the funding, do the ordinances, whatever, but make that happen. And that's not been happening, or it's been a rocky road to get there, I guess. And what's your perspective on sort of what the next steps are to get that?
So this is the part that I can be very humble in that. And what I tell people all the time is I'm learning to be a politician. I know how to work in community. And I think that I have a place at the table is that because I can learn that, and I'm still learning that, though, in my humility, I can admit. And so I am really leaning into a couple of other alders on next steps. Like if you talk to me about plan commission, I can talk to you about conditional uses. If you talk to me about alcohol license, I learned that last year or part, but finance and all of that I am learning about. And so I'm really leaning into those that can dig through the finance and like, where's the money and how do we do this? I was so grateful for Alder Matthews, resolution to be put on the table. What happens to it, I don't know. What'll come out of it. But
what's that resolution? Can you tell us about that resolution?
And so it was Alder Matthews put forward a resolution just introducing it, and I seconded it, and it was for us to have a full accounting of any money that was spent from July 22nd until the day we vote on it towards this incident, and that equal amount of money should go into the Office of Independent Police Monitor.
Oh, what a really smart resolution.
That
offers transparency and a way to move, that equivalence to some sort of accountability.
Yes.
And of course, some are going to say, well, we wouldn't have had to spend that much money if there wouldn't have been an encampment. But
do you want to play a game? I'm like, I'll play a game backwards too. Say that to me. See what happens. I'll go backwards with y'all. Let's go.
And I would say to them, we wouldn't have had an encampment if we didn't have, if officers would have to listen to people and maybe use their words a little bit more.
Every time I saw anything about how much it's costing hundreds of $1,000s, I was like, well, you should have thought about that before you killed that guy.
Yeah, or you should have thought about that before you decided not to do de-escalation training, right? Yeah. Or better de-escalation training, or longer training,
or you decided,
or better training in general. Like when I play games, I can go back.
Or we decided not to cooperate with the Office of Independent Monitor, right? That's. But also speaking of that funding piece, I think one thing people misunderstand, and I know some reporters at the press conference on Wednesday misunderstood this.
Why weren't you there?
I was.
No one pressed and asked. I didn't get to hear anybody besides, it felt like fall in line questions for her.
It's the press is largely, we only got one question, one follow up, first of all.
Mm-hmm. And so they are navigating and sort of trying to hold to a level of what we will allow.
Which is actually okay, turned out okay, because most of the press was pretty pro police, honestly, and what they were like, well, somebody asked, are you going to arrest Aeiramique Glass?
Which is the wrong question, and that's a weird question to ask.
Very weird question to ask, but
it's a weird question to ask. Why? Because they gave away drone video. Now we're pro police reporters.
But
they should have done that to begin with. They're supposed to.
Right, but it was clear. It was clear the people who were asking about funding.
I'm not getting real life.
when they talk about the 1%. That the OIM have a 1% of the police budget. They think people want them to take 1% away from the police and give it to OIM, and that's not what anybody's asking for.
No,
right? All they're asking is whatever the police get, calculate 1% of that and give that to OIM. It's not taking it away from the police.
Yeah,
and they're and this reporter from the Journal Sentinel was like, I hear 1%, I hear 5%. They can't decide. I'm like, that's just different people saying different numbers. That's not that complicated.
Yeah,
but also, it's okay if it's 1% from the police, y'all. Okay, I understand how they set it up and stuff. It's also okay if it is 1% from the police. If the police get 1% less,
I feel like if she's doing a 2% reduction across city for everybody, then give 1% of that to the OIM.
Yeah,
that actually seems reasonable.
There are different ways to do it, and it's going to be okay. It's still not big of a judgment or budget.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about the Office of Independent Monitor, and I just wanted to say again that the police 100% could give her all the information and evidence that she needs. There's no state law that says they can't.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an incident people were talking about on I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. And you were there with the Mika Glass and her encounter with the police. Can you just walk us through what happened? You told me once already, but I want to, and I related as much as I could in my article, but I want to hear it directly from your voice, how that all happened and what went down on Tuesday with you and Aeiramique.
Yeah. So I was back and forth in the area because I was trying to get set up for the SJC. I had food, I had that, I was doing droppings, and I had heard talk to Aeiramique, and she was heading down there because there was a large police presence And since she doesn't have an investigator on her staff, she has to be all things all the time and, follow through on police policy and all of that and kind of document because there's Greg and her right now.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second before I forget this question? You've talked to NACOL, you've talked to some other cities about, and we should also just name that you are not on the Police Civilian Oversight Board. There are
None.
alders on the PCOB. You're an advocate for that office and for funding that office as an alder. But
I'm an advocate. I wouldn't even say I'm an advocate as like that be the end of it. I think that in itself. So, but I have told the council when they asked for the referral and we got the referral that I was going to put my head down and dig in and go into community to understand and not have this such pull away thing. And so I've built relationships with them slowly. And yes, and am an advocate of criminal justice reform at any level.
Right. So, but have you learned in what you've learned about civilian oversight of police and everything else you've been learning about? Is it normal for a civilian oversight body, office, whatever, to have personnel on the ground in situations like that observing the police directly? Is that a normal function of that office?
Oh, yes. Usually you have, for every 80 officers, you have an investigator that can go out into community. So, like, we should have, 17 of those people out there being able to do that.
Right, but like right there in the midst of it.
Right in the midst of it,
there's,
to document.
To observe, document, and offer instructions, advice
and hand it out for
to the officers?
Instructions and policy, and exactly what Mika was doing when all of this started, which was, there was the woman who was limp. We seen when we pulled up, and she jumped out because they had double handcuffed a woman who was, I have no idea. I'm not a medical expert. She was limp on purpose, not limp on purpose, having medical things, but she instantly turned on her camera and just started following the whole process to
and I put that video. Yep.
And
it was about almost 3 minutes of that.
Yes.
And then I'm sorry, go ahead and can finish.
And then, and so, yes, that is, you are 100% right that is it, so that they can be able to monitor and then recommend processes, which is why with her video, you hear her saying, and they're saying she isn't cooperating. And she's like, watch her arm, and watch this, because to keep them. And then if they don't offer recommendations for policies that weren't followed through or policies that need to change in arrest.
So when people say why was she even there? She was being confrontational, but she has every right to be there.
Yes.
Because that's part of her, and that's a normal thing for a civilian oversight person to do. So let's just put that out there. And then she was asking for a badge number. Right.
And then she was asking for a badge number. Once she followed through, and the person got in the back of the car, I will tell you, I don't know 100% what happened with why she spun and asked for his badge number, but I think that will one day maybe be revealed of why that officer was asked for his badge number through the investigation. But it was immediately then, can I get your badge number? And then you saw the rest play out on the drone. And so Mika spun to that. I saw someone interfere and push, and Mika pushed. But then all I saw was a swarm. I swear it reminded me of, and I don't mean to be this to sound disrespectful, but as a visual person, it was like a piece of candy got dropped and ants swarming it. That's kind of an apt description, and it's interesting to see the video that the police released, which is we have up, and a lot of people have seen that. It is you can see the whole thing led up to it, and people are trying to say that she was interfering or whatever. Just looking at the video objectively, she wasn't. She was.
not passive. She was getting up. But also, as you've said, when she was up, kind of approaching that officer trying to get his badge number, the person who had been arrested was already in the car.
Yeah, the person was already in the car.
They weren't doing anything that she was interfering with.
No.
That I could see.
No.
And she did not make the first physical contact. One of the officers did. And Mika sort of swatted the arm away. The arm that was pushing, the forearm pushing against Mika swats the arm away and turns away, starts to walk away. And the officer then grabbed her. And then they all swarmed. Like that's very clear. I'm not trying to be an advocate either way. I'm just telling you that's what the video shows.
It's what happened, and that's not advocacy. Mm-hmm. That is telling the truth of what happened. And at the same time, you can see on my video that I say to someone, I'm an alder, careful, because at the same time that I'm trying to get that on my video, I am pushed by an arm and an officer up against my car.
Oh, you were?
Strong-armed, and I backed up because it was getting heightened, and I wasn't in a place that I wanted to go to jail that day. So I backed it up, and I just said, careful, I'm an alder. And she dropped her arm. But they were aggressive. And I just want to say, the officers that are out there, as I have worked with before with violence intervention, are the ones that are sent when people are a little bit more heightened and are the friskier ones. I've worked with them.
And then I don't know if it was because they've realized who she was, because she did have the big badge on.
Oh, it was being screamed into the middle of it. It was being screamed. That is the independent monitor. That is the independent monitor, from people who could see it from the outside. And some started letting go.
And you can't tell me they don't know who that is.
It was on her T-shirt. They knew who it was when I pulled up. When I pulled up, no one was paying any attention to me. When she jumped out of my car, 3 officers swarmed my car and took my license plate down. I said, it's me, Alder Glenn. You need my license plate? I got it, they said.
Now... After so they actually grappled with her. It's about 15 seconds, which sounds like a short period of time, but when you're in it, that's a long time.
That's a very
to be wrestling with police, and it was unclear what their aim was. Were they trying to arrest her? Were they trying to cuff her? And they eventually just dropped her, let her go. And she somehow got injured in that whole scrum. Her hand was cut pretty bad.
Her hand was cut pretty bad, and she has other injuries. I'll just say that.
Oh, does she? Okay. That was the visible one at the moment.
The visible one was the hand, yeah.
Yep. And she said something that then became the headline, which is, I will burn this city down. She said, I'm not the one. She's like, I told you they've been trying to do this to me. I'm not the one. I will burn the city down, which, if you look at it in its full context, like, that's adrenaline. That's figurative, like, and in the and it wasn't meant for the public necessarily.
It was
right?
not. Which is exactly why I put out a formal statement, because it was from my lie.
Right, it was on your live, and there was another video that got posted also, but that wasn't a public statement.
It wasn't a public statement.
It ended up getting public, and in the press conference yesterday or Wednesday, the mayor said it's concerning anytime anyone incites violence.
Yes.
So the mayor saw it as an incitement to violence.
Yes.
Which is what. Or at least that's what the mayor's saying now. But it wasn't that.
No.
I don't think.
Anybody that knows me, if you ask, seriously, Rob, this isn't even like hyperbole or this or that. If you talk to anybody that knows me, I have said that 1,000 times, 100,000. It's when you are in this work of being a system lover, disruptor, advocator, bridge builder, all of the names that I've been called. Sometimes you can get to the point where you run out of Band-Aids and you say things like, it just needs to be burned down. Just burn it down and let's start over. Let's build the bridge. And let's repair. We can't repair. I don't know if this is repairable. We've been doing this way and gotten worse since our country was born. And we've become more militarized and more over-policed and more over-systemed. And as someone who's worked in county, state, and city and has gone in and do some great work, it's exhausting to change it. And eventually I watch people quietly quit because it's hard. And so sometimes I just feel like, we got to just start over. And to start over, you got to get rid of what you got.
Right. And that's the sentiment behind burn it down or burn everything
That's
down.
the
'Cause you hear
sentiment.
that I mean, Trump voters said that in 2016. It was like, yeah, we're going for this crazy reality TV guy because we're just going to burn it down.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't mean literally burn anything down,
Yes.
right? So,
Yes.
but anyway, maybe an impolitic thing to say, but, maybe because not a politician either.
Mika's not a politician. There's,
right.
I don't know. We should find the picture from the city she said, because there is a picture of her painted in one of the cities where she's worked, where she has said that and then build a bridge. There's a mural of her saying that.
Oh, that's cool. Now, what I am hearing also from the city is like she's a city department head, right?
More city department heads should say that to me.
That's right.
More people shouldn't feel so afraid that have said it to me in closed doors. More people should be able to hold the system that they work for. Those are the people that should be saying it, not just the community. It should be the people on the inside saying the thing of change, but in their own way, flip that, because that's what I do, because I understand humans, flip that. There are a lot of people in leadership who are breaking generational trains simply by working there and being department heads and having good insurance and good money coming in, that feel like they are making change for their direct family. So I get it, but I think there should be more heads of offices saying it, because they sure say it in the quiet parts.
That's interesting. There are others who are saying that it's just, when she's down at these places, she's not always just observing, right? She's got up and spoke in front of the people at the concerts on the square and at other protests. So people will see that and think that she's participating in the protest. Yeah. And maybe does that make her not independent?
Yeah. No, I think it makes her more independent. Isn't that what the city's saying? They're saying that out of one side of their mouth, they're saying that a city head should not be saying burn it down. And on the other, and because she's a city employee, and on the other side, they're saying, is she independent enough?
I think to me, people confuse independent with impartial.
Yeah.
That she's not impartial.
Yes, she's not impartial. She has a mandate and a job to be able to look at all of the systems. And you know what? Do I think it should be Mika doing all those things? Absolutely not. But until we fund where she can hire other people to do it so that she can do it, in her mandate, all of those things are supposed to be covered. And the fact that we have someone that can, Mika isn't just the person looking over the paperwork that then makes a decision. She has investigators and people that she'll hire and outside people. Dr. Whedon gave the autopsy on Richard Johnson. Experts do the investigation, and she takes their language and simplifies it for a report for the community to digest. But that is what she does. their words, their information, their investigation, their expertise, and takes a community voice for a report.
Mm-hmm. There are also those who kind of say, and not this succinctly, but to boil it down, that it doesn't seem like she's just overseeing the police. It seems like she's opposing them. Does that
that's why, So those people that say that are don't understand and haven't dug in, and it's easier to jump on one side and not do your work, right? Because, and that's why I put out that 30-day thing, so that I could do the work for the community to understand it, because that's why she wants body-worn cameras. That's why she believes in restorative justice. That's why she wants to meet, and they canceled the meet with new recruits and bring in all the outside organizations, have restorative justice parts of it. That's why Chief has never said anything bad about her, because their relationship was, when they were holding her feet to the fire before. And if you ask him straight out of Independent Monitor and that relationship, and that's why he trusted her, and that she's not even an abolitionist like you're hearing out there. She believes the police. She believes in police. She believes that we need them, and take off their plate the things that they shouldn't be, but also educate them. Also get them trauma services. Also get them the proper medical that they need. Also, what does their family need? If anyone read her report and really dug in and looked up, because that's what I did when I was going to go in to meet her and dig into this, my credibility and means a lot to me for this community. And I got this outsider about to come into my community and start looking at things. I wanted to know everything. I spent a month digging into her at the same time I'm meeting her. All of her YouTubes. Who is she? What's her family story? What happened in Baltimore? What happened in San Diego? What happened this? Asking her poignant questions. Why does it feel so bad right now? It always does in the beginning, and then it gets better. Like, her beliefs on police, her beliefs on this. I needed to know who she was before I was going to stand next to her and say that I think that this person could benefit us. And boy, was it refreshing to have an outside person's view of what's happening and who has done this in other places. So when someone tells me that she's against police, they haven't done the time to get to know exactly what she's for, because that would be the exact opposite.
We talk about the police. The chief of police talks a good game on community trust, and he told me at the press conference that the trust is fragile right now. Do you think the OIM has a community trust, and does she have to continue to earn it the way the police do? Is that even a fair juxtaposition?
Oh, she had to earn it. She's still having to earn it. She is constantly having to earn it, and she's not only having to earn it, but she has to maintain it, because we know we are, as humans, we are finicky, and and also earn their trust and say the hard things to them and tell them the truth when that is not where she will stand with them on that or anything and educating them. The community isn't standing behind her on her belief of body-worn cameras. They are not jumping on the Mika bandwagon and going, oh, and they're fighting her on it. And she's standing 10 toes down on her beliefs of body-worn cameras.
You gonna run for mayor?
Never. No, I mean, not say never. I don't want to say never. I am not running for mayor this time. I have this copy and paste statement that I keep putting on social media into everybody because so many people were asking me like 500 times. And it is, I've given this city my body. I will not give it my soul. I am looking for someone, but it won't be me.
All right. Fair enough. Carmella, Glenn, thank you so much for your time. And stay safe out there.
You too.
All right, we're back. And so my question is fun, as always. And there, again, this is, nobody knows it. I'm just doing it now because
we're doing this cold.
What's something you were 100% sure you'd be good at, then turned out to be terrible at? I had too many things.
Somebody go.
I believe I'm good at everything.
However,
but
there was this one little thing.
What am I actually bad at? I'm not a great artist. I did notoriously originally attend school for animation. I can kind of draw. Not very good at it, and I don't have the patience for it. It turns out.
Beth, go ahead.
Well, this is kind of lame, but so last year my friends were like, "Oh, let's go skiing," and I've never been skiing before. I didn't grow up in that kind of family. And they were like, "Yeah, I've been skiing since I'm like 4," and like they're like, "Yeah, it's like you'll be fine." And I went, and unfortunately, it was just me and a bunch of dudes. And if you've ever had 5 23-year-olds telling you how to ski, no amount of confidence is getting you down that hill. I was getting told, go this way, go that way, pizza, pancake, whatever it is. Like, I don't know.
Now I'm just hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm cold.
Not good
why
at
is the ground wet? You know, like, it was fun. But I didn't do very hot. And then this year I tried snowboarding and I was like, okay. They say you're good at one or the other. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be good at snowboarding. No, I was not good at snowboarding.
So winter sports are out for you.
Winter sports are out. I'm really, really trying. I want to go down a mountain. It might take me 5-10 years to get there by skiing once per year or snowboarding once per year. But yeah, that's something I was not so good at.
You're like, not it.
Not it.
Oh, no.
Abby, go ahead.
Yeah, on the topic of physical activity, I am more so on the summer side of things, but diving into pools.
It seems like I think you should be able to do.
Yeah, you know, especially as a kid, I always had an extreme amount of confidence going into it, just thinking like this is going to be so easy. And watching people do it, they make it look so easy every single time. But whenever I would go to do it, it just a belly flop every time. Also, just jumping into bodies of water in general. When I was a kid, we used to like jump off of. I don't endorse this, like don't do this, but we used to jump off of our patio roof like into the pool, and I tried to do it one time. I had a bunch of guy cousins, and you know that instilled a false sense of confidence within myself. And I was also very much younger than them. And so I went to go jump off, and luckily my dad was standing right there. He managed to like push me. Otherwise, I would have landed on the concrete and probably broke something. So generally, just like physical activity, I think is not for me. Anything that requires any amount of athleticism is not my cup of tea.
Very good. Camille?
I feel like kind of like the snowboarding one. I feel like skateboarding is harder than it looks. Maybe my road is just really bumpy.
That's probably it.
Yeah, it's the road. It's not you.
Yeah, it's not me. It's not me. I don't know. I feel like one rock and you're down. Like, or the cracks like are getting to me.
Yeah, I never got to the point where I was even thought I'd be good at skateboarding. I stood on a skateboard and fell over, and that was about it.
I was going to say, you agree to that like really, really fast.
Yeah.
Rob knows. Rob is hyper aware.
I'd also just like to say that I fractured my arm skateboarding, so I also...
You're there also.
It's also, it's like, it can be dangerous.
I think for me, the thing that I thought I could do 100% and that I could not do is sewing. This goes back to middle school.
I gotta speak on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so
Got up something in you, like
yeah. The way Beth perked up when I said that.
My whole all my family can my sister made me a bag out of an old pair of jeans that looks like a whale shark with no pattern. And she was like, yeah, like, I don't know, like this is like the second thing I've sewn. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to sew something. I try and hem a pair of jeans, 4 needles and 3 hours and a bucket of tears later. And I'm like, these might fit me. So yeah, sorry, not to interrupt.
I think we all have a sibling. Like I have an older, my sister's the same way. She can do with art anything. She I don't know what the hell. She sewed curtains once because she was bored. She's so good at everything. And I was like, you suck it.
Yeah.
Not even going to try.
This is like 7th grade home ec class.
Oh, yeah.
And like the teaching, when the teacher like taught us how sewing works, I was like, oh, this is easy. I can do this. And I got like 100 on the test. And I actually told my mom, I was like, I will make you a dress. And she still brings it up to this day. I turned 52 years old, and my mom's like, "I'm still waiting on that dress." But so then after the academic portion, which that part I'm good at. I know I'm good at like faking it and taking a test, and answering the multiple choice test. But then actually making a thing, I made a hot dog pillow that was the ugliest thing you've ever seen. And
Why a hot dog pillow?
I don't know. That was
what
just
does that mean?
That's just what I
Shaped
picked.
like a hot dog.
It was like a pillow with a hot dog, and then it had like little green squares to be relish on it and stuff like that. And it was so abysmally ugly. I kept it for a long time because I'm like, this is ridiculously ugly. This is hilarious. And I got like a C+ on that. And that's like the lowest grade I ever got.
Was that like your first C+ too?
That was the lowest grade I ever got in school ever, I think. And anything.
And that's why it's such a hardcore memory for you.
Right. That's why like
yeah.
That memory has never left.
In college, you were straight A's, but that C+.
But this is why I was like a literature major, because like actually learning things and like regurgitating on a test, I'm very good at. Actually doing stuff like with my hands, I'm not so much.
You have 3. Didn't you graduate with 3 majors?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't.
All of them pretty theoretical, like literature, writing, and theater.
But also, Rob also did that extra thing from that sewing incident that he had to like double down,
carrying
and triple down,
me, yeah.
and like I'm going to graduate with 3
because of the
sewing thing.
Yeah.
So does it make you mad that our kid is so good at it? Because Patrick's good at it.
It doesn't make me mad, but
maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. Jealous. He will one day be avenged. I actually can skateboard and I can actually surf. So imagine my surprise where using a scooter is hard.
Those
electric
safe
scooters,
alternative?
I don't feel like that feels weird. I don't like it. I don't know what it means. I don't understand it. It was an electric one because our oldest son had one. He's like, Mom, you use it. You know how to do it. You got it. You got balance. I don't know what happened. I do not know how to use it. I don't know if maybe I don't trust it because I'm not controlling it. That's something. And he's like, no, you are. Like, just relax. Like, sort of like the ski thing. And all my kids were like, no, you just do it like that. Like, and I'm like, I don't understand anything you're saying. This isn't working for me. I wanted to break it. Like, give me a skateboard. I can do that. This I can't do.
Did you fall?
No, but I came close enough to be like, no, I'm stopping now. Like, there was no way I wasn't going to fall. There was no question. Like, if I maybe went half a foot. If I hit that full foot, my ass was on the ground. Excuse my language. But like I was falling. I knew it. And I kept trying to start again. I couldn't do it. I don't understand it enough. Maybe I don't care enough. Maybe I don't trust enough. There's something broken inside me that doesn't trust another inanimate object to put me in the direction I need to go. Maybe I'm broken, but no.
Like horses, the scooter could feel your feet.
I could do a horse. Horses are no problem. It is the scooter thing. I can't get it. And I was reminded about it because somebody asked me a question about him. And I was like, you know what? I'm bad at that. This is a question for our podcast.
Right.
So I can start being less bad about myself or do it in a shared company and group.
All right. That is our podcast for this week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll be back next week. 365 Amplified is produced and edited by me, Rob Chappell, and is a production of 365 Media Foundation, a nonprofit, local, independent media organization in Madison, Wisconsin. Wherever you're listening to this right now, hit the subscribe or follow button to get new episodes every Friday. And between episodes, get your latest news at madison365.org and follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. Wherever you get your news, we'll be there.